You should use a condom before you listen.
The American dream is dead.
John Lisle, L.A. Lloyd, and Drew Bennett, Beaver Kool-Aid.
You know, I've been wondering if we should maybe pull Trump out of the opening now. Maybe, because we could be turning off 50% of our audience by having him there. I kind of put it in there as a sarcastic thing, but what do you guys think?
As a program director, Lloyd, you should be thinking, I need to freshen things up.
Yeah, freshen up the imaging a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty you could throw in there.
Maybe I should.
Everybody knows the American dream is dead.
Maybe I should put Beto in there.
Beto. I would like you if you put in a snippet of Beto talking about football players taking a knee.
Mm-hmm.
That would be cool. That would be good.
Again, we'd be right back pissing off 50% of our audience again. Maybe 30. Maybe 30.
What 50% of what? Anyhow, I just, since we happen to, once again, it's been a while since we've had a new podcast. I'm John Lisle, by the way. Then you're supposed to say your name.
Oh, hey, I'm Drew.
And yes, I'm Lloyd. So it's
Lloyd.
It's Halloween, and we're recording Halloween night. So this, by the time you hear it, Halloween will have come and passed. It washed everyone out here in Austin. The trick-or-treaters did not get a good night in the ATX. Been raining hard.
We had a good night.
Did you?
Oh yeah, I took the kids trick-or-treating.
See?
And we had a great night. I mean, we had to go at the right time. I mean, there was rain.
Yeah.
But
did you have to boil the rain? Did they say you need to boil the rain?
Yeah, right.
Where is the gong when you need it? That was a quick one there, Lyle.
We got out there and found some cool houses. Austin does Halloween right.
I would say the two biggest, at least in Circle C. You can always be sure that almost every home is decorated Halloween and Christmas. I mean, they go all out on those holidays. There's no doubt about it.
The Halloween holiday, hopefully no one had to work. I think we're moving in that direction.
Well, I'll put it to you like this. Everyone was at work today, but there was no work getting done. I mean, I felt like I was in elementary school. They were like, everyone come out to the lobby and we're going to let everyone who dressed up today march up and down the stairs.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, are you shitting me? Who is up there?
Building right there.
I couldn't believe it. These people, and they're showing horror movies on the conference room big screen projector thing there, and they got Halloween treats. So yeah, we were at work.
Karen, you won the costume contest, and your prize is printer toner.
And yeah, and nobody was working. They probably gave out some Total Wine and More gift cards or some Specs gift cards, to get you more drunk when you get home. But
yeah, but this is what it keeps becoming.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I just didn't pay attention because I was a kid, but it always seems like that as I've gotten older, adults seem to have co-opted Halloween.
Oh yeah. I feel the same way. And now that my kids are, out of the trick or treat age, I just have no interest in the holiday anymore. I mean, I greeted a couple of kids that came up for some candy, but I didn't decorate the house. I mean, we used to have our house heads hanging from the balcony and orange lights, and I used to play the scary music out there, and some of the kids were too scared to even come to my door because I had it so fixed up. But I have no interest in it anymore. I just kind of lost it.
You can still play the scary music. Just crank up KLBJ.
Well, I was thinking about playing the new Ace Frehley album, but
Hey, it's great.
Hey, let me ask you, because you there, Drew, being the Kiss fan, just to all of a sudden take a quick left turn.
Oh, yeah.
Do you say Frehley or Freely?
It is Frehley.
Yeah, I thought it was Frehley.
I have always thought it was Frehley, but I have been corrected by Kiss fans over the years that tell me it's Freely.
No.
Well, that was the whole takeoff on his band's name was Frehley's Comet to kind of rhyme with Haley. I always thought.
I think I think both pronunciations have become acceptable, but I think technically it is Ace Frehley.
It's Frehley, right? Yeah. Not that I'm a Kiss guy, but I just thought I'd take that quick left turn because I just wanted somebody to back me up on that.
And now, Stanley Eisen.
Now
And
back to
time
Halloween
Hey, you're not a Kiss guy, literally.
2018.
Neither am I.
So, not in 7 years. In
Not
fact,
anymore.
It was the 25th of October. I think it was last week that the end.
Yeah.
The end of the era.
The end of the
But,
year.
going back to the Halloween thing, yeah, I mean, I just see more and more money being used. It becomes, I think after a while, maybe they may work it into a 3-day weekend somehow.
Well, it is kind of weird when it's in the middle of the week because do you celebrate? Well, I mean, the parties that the adults go to. I mean, I guess they all go on the weekend before, right?
Sure.
If it's on the Wednesday.
I mean, you can have a Halloween party during the season. I think the trouble happens when you've got young kids. Like tonight, we had to wait, because of the rain. And then we went trick-or-treating.
Right.
So they go to bed about 8. They didn't get home until 8:30 and they're all hopped up on sugar.
Well, I was expecting a bunch of kids to pop by about 8:30 or so tonight because of the delay, so, but we had none after 8. There was none. Pop by.
Well, because they know what you gave out last year.
Yeah.
So let me ask
Prunes.
you, Drew, did you get all the kids in your Polaris and then slowly cruise them around?
Yeah. We got everybody in the Pathfinder and we cruised around.
All right,
And
so
sat
no
in the
walking.
car while they jumped out and went and trick or treated.
So they walk, they jump out and they go back to the vehicle, to conveyance other than their 2 legs.
I will say that my neighborhood does Halloween really well, and we have a specific house down the street that those guys. I mean, I'll never be as good as those guys. They do a fantastic job. They have an entire maze that you walk through before you get to their front door. And
Wow.
they give away bags of not just candy, but like little spider rings and everything. It's excellent.
Oh, who are these? The drug dealers?
They're the drug dealers.
Yeah.
They got the money for all of that. They got the expendable income.
Well, it's nice to give out a fresh jewel every Halloween,
They're saying that this is so stupid. But there was in the news today, they were saying that people are distributing meth tablets and they're crushing them to look like Smarties, right? And then giving them out to kids.
Wow.
That's what they're telling you in the media. But let me just tell you.
It's fake news,
if you're
man.
listening to the podcast.
Fake news.
There isn't a meth dealer in the world that is going to press his shit into kid candy and give it to them.
Way too much time.
Oh, wow.
Well, it's like, that's a ton of money. You're just gonna press a bunch of meth tabs and then hand them out to kids, lose all that money.
I mean, as a kid, I used to hear all the horror stories about putting razor blades in apples and weird shit like that. But honestly, and believe me, I did grow up in the sticks. I didn't ever hear of one case of someone getting bad candy or chomping down on a razor blade.
I know, right? Did you ever have a friend that you went to elementary school with who was like, yep, I got a Twizzler, bit right into it, razor blade.
How about you, Lisle? I mean, you were in the big city of Raleigh there. Did you ever hear of any bad candy or anything as a kid?
Yeah, I mean, there was no such thing as bad candy.
Yeah.
I just wondered about you trick-or-treating in the country.
Oh, yeah. That's good times right there.
Tractor and ride a few miles to get somebody give you a sweet potato.
Oh, yeah. Drop a sweet potato in my bag.
They just they hang a bag of candy from a cow's neck and you just walk up and grab it.
I mean, it's probably there. They probably just had the cow out there and, one suck per teat. That's all you got.
We actually drove into the big town of Wendell. We had to go 5 miles so we could have houses that were within, a tenth of a mile together. Where I lived at, there was no neighbors.
You went outside your neighborhood and poached in a neighborhood that didn't belong to you.
That's right. Because out in the country, we had to go into the city. That city population about 5,000 of a real city.
No. You don't get to do that, dude. You don't live there. It's called your parents took you out to the country, so be it, If you guys want to have a fall festival amid the brown corn stalks, so be it.
Yeah.
But you don't go into somebody else's neighborhood.
Wait a second. So let me ask you this. So it's not cool for me to take my kids over to Westlake where I know for a fact they're going to get full-size candy bars.
Well, they would probably know just because of the costumes, because you know the full-on makeup and everything in Westlake is they could see your kids. If you're out there, if you don't have the real legit costume, if you kind of come up there with the
Ben Cooper
a potato sack
costume
on your head or something, that's not going to work.
Yeah. The apron costume with the plastic mask isn't going to cut it.
No.
Yeah, you're a poacher then.
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing there, poacher?
Right.
Yeah, you go to somebody else's neighborhood and trick or treat over there. What's up with that?
Well, they need to have security out.
Well, as
You're
a poor
supposed to
kid,
trick or treat in your neighborhood.
that's what I did as a poor kid. We went to the rich neighbors so we could get the good candy.
You know, they should have checkpoints, right? Where you have to show your driver's license to prove that you live in the zip code.
Yeah, because obviously Lloyd didn't. I mean, he grew up in the sticks. He grew up on a farm. And so they took him and poached in some other neighborhood.
Right.
He just thought it was legitimate behavior. He didn't.
What'd you
get
end
it.
up with when you were done, Lloyd? Like a couple of stalks of corn and some sweet potatoes?
No, man, I had the good candy. The thing about my granny though, she would always buy those little boxes of Sun-Made raisins, and I was like, Granny, seriously, nobody wants these. Well, that's what they're getting. They're nourishing, and they're good for you.
Yeah, what they get is they get thrown back at your house.
Yeah, you're right.
So listen to this. We got a house. We have a great neighborhood with a lot of people that participate. We got this one lady that lives down the street from us. And instead of leaving her porch light on, she turns it off and she puts
That's rude.
She puts an orange pylon.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Fucking
Yeah.
the Grinch
On her
of Halloween,
porch.
man.
On her porch. Isn't that funny? I mean, she's the biggest curmudgeon
Wow.
for doing
I
that.
can't believe she put the little pylon thing up there.
Yeah, it's a big cone. It's a big
You should have
street
walked up there
cone.
and go
Well,
like, you know what you should have told her? You should have said, hey, is this your sign for the candy corn? Because it kind of looks like a big candy corn up here.
yeah, you
This
just need
isn't
to
filled
paint,
with candy
paint
corn,
the
is it?
top like yellow. and
Yeah.
you're, ready
Listen,
to go.
all you do when you don't want to, and when we walked to another house that had lights on around their door, and nobody home.
Wow.
It's like, come on,
Well, they could be out walking
yeah,
with their
that's
kids.
a psych.
too.
Figure
That's
it
what
out.
that is.
Figure it out. But here's my thing. You just turn your light off. Just turn off your lights. It's the only night of the year where you're going to sit in the dark and watch TV, right? Turn your lights off. Just don't answer the door if somebody knocks. I don't think that you need to put up construction equipment on your patio or your front door.
Put the police yellow tape out there. Do not cross.
Right. Well, in my day, people would think that was a setup.
Right. That's
part
true.
of the decoration.
Part of the scene. You're right.
In my day, Pylon Patty, their traffic cone Trisha, whatever, she would get annihilated and
Oh,
say,
yeah.
you know what? I think next year I'll spend $8 on some Reese's cups.
Right.
Yeah.
She would be
Get off my lawn.
right. And in my neighborhood, if that happened, we blamed the boys from Johnston County that came in from the farm to poach in our neighborhood.
You're saying somebody's
That
going
happened. They
you're
don't
saying-
know Halloween etiquette.
You're saying somebody was going to poop in the pylon.
Oh, yeah.
No,
I
we
would
would.
hope so.
That house would have been annihilated.
Totally would have
in my
got
time.
egged. It would have got egged.
I mean, all sorts of things.
Yeah, I anticipate
Yeah.
John would have put some dog shit in the back out there and lit it on fire.
Do people egg other people anymore?
I think so, yeah.
Does that still happen?
No, because if you're a kid, you have to go outside, and then you actually have to toss the egg.
Yeah. Did they have an app for that you just toss the egg inside of the app?
I'm sure.
Right, it's a virtual thing, and then
You
then
gotta
somebody
get
pulls up
outside.
something and says, "Your house has been egged."
Do you want an egg back for $2.99?
Right.
Now, of course, you had to go through your kids' candy. Did you see what the trend is this year? Is it
Yeah, so we got home
classics
and
or
Screaming Ben Bennett was excited to count his candy.
that's Drew's oldest?
That's right. He's about to turn 7, and so he wanted to count his candy. He's a math dude. And
Wait a minute. Did you say he's a meth dude?
he could be a
Well,
math
after
dude. I have no
tonight's
idea.
all-
We had to look through the candy, Lloyd.
Right. Just
Yeah, those are for Daddy.
Yeah, right.
Those
I took all
strange-looking
of those.
Smarties, they come to Daddy.
I took all of those. And so he had about 87 pieces of candy
Wow, that's a good night.
and 2 bags. So he probably cracked the 100 count. Because he had those cool bags that he got from these nice houses that we've got here. And so he did pretty well.
So
I think the trend on candy this year was probably a lot of suckers.
Huh.
That's kind of the trend every year.
And, we're, like I said, we're in this neighborhood where we don't, there's candy. But then these other houses do these grand things where you walk up and you get like a bag of candy. You know what I mean? Like a bag. Like a small,
already put together
plastic sack. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's not just candy in these bags. It's rings. And like we went up to one house. We went to one house and she had a jewelry store that she had made. And it was all, plastic costume jewelry that the kids were picking out instead of candy.
Well, I don't feel so bad about handing out Q-tips then.
Yeah, me either. I hand out office supplies. I give them erasers and scissors.
And
And
here's a big handful of paper clips.
Hole punchers.
Sure.
For you. Or shoot a bunch of staples in their bag. So
I just get a
when
roll
you
of-
say suckers, what do you mean? You mean Tootsie Roll Pops? You mean
I just get a
Blow
roll of
Pops?
quarters. Yeah, like Tootsie Roll Pops with but then also the huge, choke on you.
The blow
discs
pops with the
of
gum in the
candy.
middle.
Yeah, with the stick in it.
Yeah.
Those big ones.
So did you have to stick your finger and check your glucose at the end of the night?
Ben got sick. He ate so much candy. And so he had a stomach ache when he went to bed. Rose, not so much. It was funny because Ben was like, mid trick or treat, Ben's like, I'm tired. I'm going to sit in the car. I said, okay.
Well, that's when you give him
Rose-
some candy to kind of rile him
Rose,
up a little.
She plowed on, man. 4, 5, 6, 7 more houses by herself. What's up? Give me some candy. She had a big bag of candy when she was done.
Did she dress up as a stripper this year, or would you let her go as?
Come on, man.
Well, I had a.
That's my role in life is to make sure she doesn't become a stripper.
I was getting ready to tell you I have a little prop brass pole I could have let you borrow tonight if you wanted to.
No.
That's what I used to let mine go as.
She did dress up as they have these characters called Shimmer and Shine.
Okay.
It's really just strippers in training.
Right.
But they're genies. And so she wore a genie costume.
Okay.
And she looked adorable. She went to school.
That's what Ava dressed up when she was about 9. So that's a good outfit. You can still look a little well, I hate to say slutty because you don't want to say that about your daughter, but Jeannie's is approaching. Jeannie's approaching the slutty outfit though, especially as you get older.
Oh, listen,
I was disgusting me in some level. I don't know why.
I was sitting in the car and these two teenagers, probably 12, 13, maybe 14.
Yeah.
Walked across the street in the skimpiest Disney costumes you've ever seen.
Wow.
I was like, ladies.
Where are your parents?
Hey, man, that's Aladdin wore more than that, okay?
I mean, I would not have let my daughter walk out in these dresses on these girls who were tall and, so there's lots of leg. I was sitting in the car.
That's too old to be trick-or-treating anyway.
I saw them walk across the street. I literally was like sitting alone in the car going, what are you guys doing? I can't believe you're walking.
You know what they were thinking?
iPhone taking pictures.
Yeah, that's what they were thinking. It's like, why is that guy sitting alone over there in his car on Halloween?
Yeah, I guess it sounds bad, right? I was sitting alone in my car watching these girls cross the street.
Right, and that's all you do. You run around and go, and you roll down your window, and once in a while you go like, Jason,
Freddie,
go to the next house.
And there were some Ted Cruz costumes walking around.
Halloween's gotten
political.
Halloween was only political for adults.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get the rubber mask, The
when your 9-year-old's going as Ted Cruz
figure, but not children.
Right.
That's just bad. It's just polarization is so awful.
I guess you guys heard about the dad who dressed his kid up as Hitler, right?
Somebody does that every year. Some idiot does that every year.
Yeah, he dressed his kid up as Hitler, and he went as an SS general or whatever it was.
What?
So yeah, he got a little bit of shit about that.
I mean, was he a white supremacist or just a dummy?
He just thought it was, he claimed to be a history buff, and every year he liked to dress up as historical figures or whatever. He just decided to let his little kid have the little Hitler mustache and the swastika, and he went as an SS agent. Yeah.
What an idiot.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Well, I judged a costume contest one time when I was in radio, when I was still on the air. And it was a kid's costume contest. And this lady walks in, and her kid is wearing a KKK sheet and hood.
Drew, let me ask you:
He's a grand dragon.
Did you visit Johnston County where I grew up? Because that kind of stuff is welcome.
That's what they wear in Johnston County at church.
I mean, you guys, I should tell you some of the court stories from Amarillo, Texas. But this was in Amarillo. It was at the mall. And I was judging this costume contest, and this lady walks up, and I think the kid had some kind of a cross or something.
What was the reaction on people's faces when you see a guy walk up or a kid walk up in a clan sheet?
So some people couldn't figure out if he was just a really poor ghost, or if she was deliberately dressing him as a white supremacist.
It's a ghost with a dunce cap.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, that is what it is. But anyway, so there were. It was a mix of people who were like, "What is that? Is that like a ghost, or is that like a KKK? That's like the best costume I've ever seen in my life." And there's these hicks, standing around Amarillo.
Where Lloyd's from, they'd say, "Hey, look, he dressed like my State Farm agent."
Incidentally, I think Amarillo has changed since then, and it's not that crazy of a place, more diverse now.
Oh, has it really?
Yeah.
I mean, it has. They've gone through some things. I mean, there was a skater that was killed there in the 90s, and a movie made about that. So they've had to deal with some tolerance issues, in Amarillo. But they've got these really dark cases of people who were indicted and thrown on death row for murder that they may or may not have even committed. I mean, there's been serial killers in Amarillo. They've gone through a lot over the years, and in a town that's small, 175,000, 250,000.
Sounds like the perfect Netflix series for sure.
Well, there is a
Murderer 2.
There is a movie out about a serial killer. Who was this just this kid. His name was Johnny Frank Garrett. And this is a good Halloween story for you.
Well, he has 3 names, so right there, that's a good lead.
He has 3 names.
Yeah.
But here's what. So there's a movie called I think it's called The Last Word of Johnny Frank Garrett.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I'll give you the Cliff Notes. He's a kid who has a learning disability, right? And he had volunteered at a nunnery, or a convent in Amarillo, moving furniture and doing some things on his level, on his skill level. And so one of the nuns on Halloween night dies. She's murdered inside of the convent. And they don't know. There's very little evidence on what happened. And so, through the system of prosecution, they're trying to satisfy a nervous city, and they consult a medium. Her name was Bubbles. And Bubbles tells them that she has seen a vision of who murdered this nun, and she describes a house. Well, it turns out it's this kid, Johnny Frank Garrett's house. And so they go over there, and I think because he was moving furniture at the convent, they were making those connections.
Ah.
So they end up railroading the kid through the court system, and he gets the death sentence. He gets the death penalty. And so he writes a letter inside of the jail that if you read it, knowing what his IQ was, you would be shocked. You'd be shocked at how it was written. knowing that this kid had an IQ of whatever, 45, 50.
Right.
He writes this very, very eloquent, but also super scary letter where he's like, I curse your family. I curse your children, your grandchildren. When something bad happens to you, you're going to see me. I mean, some of this, you got to read the letter because it's just so spooky.
So what happened to him? I mean,
so he dies.
He dies.
They kill him. And later on, this attorney, Jesse Quackenbush, ends up doing a documentary on the entire thing because he does background research on the case. There's another story I'll tell you about Jesse Quackenbush. But anyway, he does a documentary on it called The Last Words of Johnny Frank Garrett.
Wow.
And then later on, years later, I think there was a B-movie horror movie that was, based on the true story, right, of Johnny Frank Garrett.
Right.
But that's a great, crazy, because listen, everybody that was involved in that case, the district attorney, the prosecutor, all these people, they all died in weird ways. Like there was a teacher that was involved in some of the testimony and she ended up committing suicide in front of her kids.
I was just wondering if it was time to bring out Fang Baby for Johnny.
Anyway, Johnny Frank Garrett, look it up. Crazy.
John, speaking of some great horror stories, or at least urban legends about the railroad tracks down in San Antonio, what's the story?
Ghost tracks, yeah.
Aren't they ripping those tracks up so there's no more? You can't even go there. I think
it'll negate the angle that created the effect.
Right.
The grade is going to be different, so that's.
So no more no
more ghost tracks. I mean, you can sit there and then you just get killed by the train.
Right.
Going anywhere. So yeah, that'll be the end of that, which is okay. I'm sure the people around there are very, very happy.
Yeah.
That'll be the end of that. I took my kids down there a few years ago.
Did you get the handprints on the trunk when you put the baby powder on it?
No, that's what you're supposed to get, the handprints. No.
That's a good story though.
So yeah, I mean, it was all bullshit.
But it was a good story. It's a good Halloween story.
Yeah, it was a good. This is a very haunted city.
It's the second oldest city. Was Nacogdoches or Natchez? Which one was it?
But we're very haunted. We're top 10 in the country.
Yeah.
I think they said no, actually top 10 in the world, between somewhere in Australia and Salem, Massachusetts.
Well, El Paso is. El Paso's got some stuff going on over there too.
El Paso always has stuff going on there, right? Yeah. That's haunted, but in a different, real way.
Hey, I think I found a little piece here, Johnny. Hang on. I think I just found something. Let me see if this will play. I don't know. There it is.
The next story was told to me by a friend, Eva Flores, who lives in South San Antonio. We call it Fang Baby of Old Pearsall Road. When we think of the dark side, of black, cold night, of creeping shadows, of lurking evil, when we think of creatures that inhabit the other side, we think of the slithering snake, the black cat, and the blood-sucking vampire bat. In complete contrast, when we think of an infant child, we picture all that is innocent and beautiful. Maybe that is the power and the horror of the Fang Baby.
There you go. So, John, that was for you. I won't play the whole thing because it's 7 minutes long, but
keep sucking you dry until even after it gets out of college.
Fang Baby. This was reported first in the Inquirer, right?
John Lisle used to play this every Halloween. He and his partner there, Steve Hahn, would play Fang Baby. John, you can give us the history on Fang Baby if you like.
No, that's okay. I'll just pass.
You sure?
Yeah.
Drew doesn't know about the whole Fang Baby thing in San Antonio.
Well, he can find out. He can Google Tim Tingle, and that's who was speaking, and find out on his own. But no.
Do you know how happy I just made all three of our San Antonio podcast downloaders?
Because that was tradition.
That was their thing. Because San Antonio is a great traditional town. They love tradition down there.
Yeah, and we like I said, we're a very haunted city. So that's okay.
You got the donkey
some things
lady?
real and imagined we're haunted by, but I
got
was going to
Midget
go back,
Mansion?
way back. You were talking about that before we went off and got real, and it was good. And now I'm going to look it up. But you were talking about judging that costume contest with
Yeah.
the KKK kid.
Right.
The very first costume contest I judged here was I think it was if it wasn't 1983, it was 1984, but I think it was 1983. And this place called Daddy's on Fredericksburg Road, and a lot of really good costumes. And the best costume really was this guy that went as a bong. And it was a big bong, obviously. And he had some kind of powder, so it looked like smoke.
Yeah.
And the people, I think I was emceeing, but anyhow, the people that were judging it said, we can't go for a bong. And so they went for someone who was dressed as the Tower of the Americas.
Wow.
That pissed off Mr. Bong big time.
Oh.
So here's this 6-foot bong letting go of this powder in large amounts. So we couldn't breathe. We could not breathe. I mean, it was just filled with whatever powder he had. He was letting go on it, man.
That's good times.
And he was right.
He should have won.
So 35 years later, dude, I want to say you're right. You should have won. Or it could have been 34 years. I don't remember. But
well, I hope Mr. Bong is still with us.
So I hope so. Because nowadays, you know, if you were the best costume, you'd win if you were a bong.
Oh, yeah.
There were problems.
So what happened is this dude, Pete, gets in a car with his buddies and they all get drunk. And they drive down to Old Pearsall Road.
Oh, you're not going to tell us you can't do that, Drew. You have to have people find out. Find out about it, man.
All right.
I never even knew how to spell Pearsall.
Yes, you do.
Looks like pear and a saw.
Yeah.
This happened in the 1960s, Fang Baby.
Fang Baby, yeah.
You need to look that up. It's
Fang
like,
Baby's probably like 55.
Mr. Tingle is he's a great storyteller.
Yes, yeah. And there you have it. He has other entertaining stories.
But that's the one he's most famous for on 99.5 Kiss.
On
So I hear
Kiss he
that-
was, just because we chose to play that one all the time.
Right.
We played other ones too.
Yeah.
But I hear the Chinese cemetery is also haunted over there, right?
But there's something about the Fang Baby. I think it's just that. You know, it's just Fang Baby.
Fang Baby.
I interviewed him once on the phone. It was, I don't forget what it was. It was like a weather situation. So it was kind of a weird.
I bet that was not a fun interview for him or you.
No, I don't think so. But nonetheless, I think we maybe sold a few for him. Austin now, if you're talking about Austin is haunted by California.
Yeah. You got that right.
So it's extremely haunted.
So Halloween is going to be behind us. And of course, Tuesday, not that we want to get into politics here, but it's the big election day. Did you guys vote early yet?
I did. Yep.
I was going today and the line was too long.
Right.
So
you're gonna be a traditionalist and go on election day. I used to want to go vote on election day. I never voted early because I always just kind of like the whole vibe of voting on the real day. But I got up.
Become sensible since then.
Yeah. I got in it early this year. So
I just don't. I hate having to go to the poll.
yeah.
I want them to figure out some way that we can just vote online. I mean, that's the way life exists now. You can do anything at any time. You don't have to worry about business hours to buy from Amazon or
Right.
book a flight or do
You should
whatever.
be
I
able
mean,
to
everybody
vote
has different schedules.
On your
I want to
phone,
be able
man.
to log on, spend some time. At the same time, I could look at a candidate, then I can open up a tab and I could research them,
Wouldn't that be great?
see what's going on, and then go back, cast my vote a little bit by. I think for people that want to be informed, that's the way to do it, because
I agree.
people all down ballot, all these judges, you know, you can't go by political parties, but you go by, it's stupid that we vote for them anyhow, because we don't know what the hell they do. So we don't know if they're good or not. And you want to vote for people that are good, that handle their docket and, you know, do business and keep it going.
should be able to vote through Facebook. You can see their Facebook page and see what kind of recipes
There
they
was
share.
there was a rumor. Now, I don't know if this was documented as fact or not, but they were saying if you voted straight Democratic ticket, that the machines were messed up, and instead of giving the vote to Beto, it gave it to Cruz instead. So if you didn't, go check through everything you voted for at the end before you cast your ballot, it was basically saying if you voted straight Democratic, it would still give Ted Cruz the vote.
I think there was a little bit of pilot error on some of that.
I don't know if that's true or not. I did hear that, though.
I'm not saying that it didn't happen. I just am saying that they're also reporting that it could have been a little pilot error.
Right.
Huh. I heard that if you voted for Ted Cruz, that whenever you hit that little screen or whatever, you'd feel just a little oil on your fingertip.
Yeah.
Or on the little, stylus you use.
Are we talking about
just a little
test?
Is it like crude oil or baby oil or like the oil from your skin?
Kind of oily.
Yeah, he's kind of oily, man. He needs some powder.
But no, I mean, I just think that we're way behind on this because, granted, I think it's wonderful that we've had all this early voting and people standing in lines and, getting out there and making it happen. But let's just face it. Reality is what reality is. If you could just do it online, you get a lot more people who would vote. And at the same time, like I said, you could research people. What I do is, frankly, on judges, unless I know them, I go off the newspaper's recommendations. So
really?
I print out my stuff because they've already done interviews with all these people. They've all appeared before the editorial board. And I print out their recommendations. So when I go in, I know that I go ahead and vote for the people I'm going to vote. And then for others, then I pull out my couple of pages I have. And off of that, then I vote for the judges. Because I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. I've known a lot of people have had to switch political parties so they could be reelected as a judge. Because they do a great job.
And we had a lot of unopposed here.
Which is just nonsensical.
Yeah, we had a lot of unopposed judges up here, so it was kind of easy to make the choice. I mean, you either left it blank or you just gave them the vote because they didn't have any opponents, But
so you weren't influenced by the Casey campaign sign? Someone's yard, you go, well, like Andy Rodriguez.
The person that was running for city council in my district, I will say I didn't know anything about him, but I did vote because I thought their sign was pretty clever. It was, I think his name was Frank Ward, and his sign said, "Keep Austin Ward." So I had to give that guy my vote just because.
Dude, are you sure he came up with that? Maybe you were voting for someone else.
It sounds like
you should vote for his assistant.
No, I'm telling you,
for the sign. I could understand if you did. Like I said, if there was some tasty female.
Yeah, no, it sounded like a bad dad joke that I would have come up with. It's like, yeah, keep Austin Ward. I like that guy. I'm voting for him. He's got my vote right there.
I guarantee you, his wife came up with that.
Probably did. Maybe his daughter did. I don't care. Anyway, I voted for Mr. Ward, so if you're listening, you're welcome. And cool sign, man.
Yeah, and you're welcome. Yeah, the guy could be a piece of crap when it comes to doing his job, but that's okay, man. You had something catchy enough. That's the reason why. That's the reason why I trust other opinions and not. I'm not going to vote for somebody off of a sign or a catchy slogan because it really matters. These judges. Hey. Some people run a really tight court. They get through stuff.
Hey, it worked for Make America Great Again.
There were guys trying to get, signatures for other stuff, right? Other things they were trying to get through to city council when you left the grocery store as an early voter. And this guy walks up to me and he's like, "Hey, man, can I talk to you about this thing?" I'm like, "Sure." And he's like, "Well, here's this thing and that thing, and this is why this thing is wrong." And I was like, "Wow, man, that sounds like you're right there." And he goes, "So can I get your signature on this?" And I'm like, "No, because I'm going to go home and read about it."
Right.
But I'm not going to sit and put my signature on a petition after a 2-minute, pitch from you.
Well, you're a smart guy.
He's like, you're a tough nut to crack, sir. I'm like, no, I'm just not a fucking idiot, okay? I'm just not going to put my name on that. until I go home and read about it, you dumbass.
And then later you found out that everyone who had signed the petition had died under mysterious circumstances.
But Lyle brings up a good point. We had, I think it was 11 propositions to vote for. And seriously, I mean, you could kind of make pretty good sense of it by reading what they had. But I mean, they can be written so what you think you're voting for, you're actually not. That's what they play mind games with you on this shit because, you know, in this little paragraph, if you haven't done your research, it's like, oh, yeah, wait a minute. I'm for that or am I not again? I don't know. I need to go back home and do some more research on this. But, you know, you're there voting. You got 12 propositions to go on. It's like, all right, I think I've got this down. I mean,
and those are the things, you know, all those local propositions directly impact your life.
Yeah.
That's the real vote right there.
And you don't want the uninformed to negate the informed vote.
That's true.
You need to figure out, because, you know, like a bunch of us out here where I live, we're all making sure that we're voting against having our area annexed. But there was still some confusion the way that they set it out on the ballot. And, you know, and there are things that are going on in San Antonio that are huge that would be changes to the city charter. I don't get to vote on that because I'm not a resident of the city. But these are extremely important issues, and nothing that's going to be a, you know, if you don't like your state rep you voted for 2 years later, okay, boom.
Yeah.
But these are things that have permanence, and at least for a while, that can really impact a municipality. So you got to know what's going on. But I don't want to stand in line when I vote because things are too weird and polarized now, and people talk when they're in line, and they find others like them.
Yeah,
when they're in line. I don't know if that's like that in Austin. Because
no, it is.
Everybody's talking about all the little scooters that they rode over to the polling place. But you know, here, because I'm in the area I'm in, and the time that I vote, I'm dealing with a lot of older people. And I don't want to hear what they're talking about, frankly. I want to get in, do my thing, get out, which is the reason in years past, I've just driven to other parts of the city. I'm on my drive for 30, 40 minutes to go to a early voting site or a polling place that I know no one's going to be in.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So I can get in, get out instead of over here. I mean.
So wait a second. You would rather drive 40 minutes and stand 10 minutes in line.
It won't be 10
than to stand 25 minutes in line at a closer place?
Yeah. So I can get in and get out, and I don't have to look at my fellow voters or hear them. It's very discouraging sometimes.
Let me ask you this. Are you a guy that likes to shop? You like to get into the mall and shop?
No, I hate malls.
Okay.
Well, you guys will be impressed where I voted at this year because it was close by the station, but it was the Austin Area Urban League, empowering communities and changing lives.
I was going to say, if you were over up by where the radio station is, I was going to say maybe it was like a Circle K.
No, it was the Austin Area Urban League. And
it sounded pretty cool at that point, you know.
I'd never been in that building before, but...
Is it a nice building?
It's, well, no, I think that we could probably put a little more money into it, but... it's a good thing there. I saw the signs. I was like, well, this has got to be a place to early vote. I didn't even know where I was pulling into. And I was like, oh, it's the Austin Area Urban League. So
when I was born in Austin way back in the early 70s, that part of the town was where my parents lived. And, you know, so we lived in a house over there.
Right.
But now I joke with my mother. It's like, if I took you over to look at your old house, we might get shot. We could at least buy some good drugs over on the Runberg.
I will say though, the staff was very old. I mean, there was this woman who was kind of, I don't know what her title was, maybe a chairman or something. I don't know. Anyway, she was definitely the school monitor because we were in the line. It wasn't too bad, maybe 10 people deep. But you were kind of in a hallway, and then you went into the room where the actual machines were at. And there was a couple of people on their cell phone, and man, she fucking lit into it. I was like, let me tell you something. You can't have that phone out here while you're getting ready to cast your votes. Put that thing away, son. And this guy who's probably 28 looked at her and kind of gave her an eat shit look. And she was like, she stood there until he turned it off and stuck it in his pocket. She was pretty on his ass, which I was laughing about. I was laughing.
You can't have a mobile phone on in the voting area.
But it was funny seeing this. I mean, this. I'm serious. This woman's probably in her late 80s. I mean, she was an old woman, and this was some dude who thought he was too cool for the room, and he kind of gave her that look, and she held him down. I was proud of her. I was like, "Fucking hey, you tell him."
Yeah, sure. It was another guy.
I'm telling this story for a friend who said he witnessed it.
Right. Yeah. That's all it is. Yeah, exactly. We know who it was. Lloyd.
You guys would be proud of me because Ava and I were at the grocery store yesterday.
I'm so proud of you for doing the shopping.
October 30th is the day I'm referring to.
Oh. Okay.
And we walk by and they've got the entire eggnog display. I mean, it is freaking floor to ceiling eggnog. And Ava's like, "Oh, Dad, we got to get eggnog." I was like, "No, I'm going to wait. Not going to do it before Halloween this year. I know we did last year, but, your mom got a little pissed off about it. So I'm going to wait till November 1st. Then I'm going to buy a shitload of eggnog. I'm going to start playing Christmas music. And I'm going to buy an ornament from Drew's mom with a Santa on it. So that is my plans for the weekend. And if other people in this house do not like that, too bad. Because we're celebrating. We are full on Christmas holiday mode. So
dude,
I'm toasting an eggnog to all of you tonight. 2 months, right? Because we got an early Thanksgiving, so we get an extra week for Christmas this year, too, for those who only begin after Thanksgiving. I got to get a head start.
Off the Bing Crosby tomorrow?
Oh, yeah. I'm jumping in, man. Yeah, oh, yeah. So eggnog this weekend, if you guys want to come up and join me, I'll have a little Jameson to go with it. And we will not have to boil the water for the ice cubes because I use Ozarka.
Hey, all right. Look at that.
Thanks to Ozarka for sponsoring the Beaver Kool-Aid podcast.
Well, man, my ice cubes, I don't make enough money. I don't make enough money for that, so I've got brown ice cubes, but they do add a little flavor to the beverage.
I will go to your party and I will tear it up.
Really? Beaver Kool-Aid.
Hit it hard.
With Lisle, L.A. Lloyd, and Drew.
Make it like a man.
So go ahead, stick your head up your ass.